Each time we're trying to learn from a different angle, what does it mean to live as one family? And today we want to learn what it means. Our subject today is Sodom and Gomorrah. This represents a society that lives exactly the opposite. What were exactly the social relations, the negative aspect of them. They really show the peak of inconsideration, lack of mutual support between people. And I want to understand what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah so that we can break out and go to a new life. I want to tell you about a few things that happened in Sodom and Gomorrah based on materials we found for this program. The thing that most characterizes Sodom is what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. You're here, I'm there, and don't come close to me. If it was like that, it would be okay, but in Sodom, you couldn't do good to another person in any situation. One person, there was an act that was logical, but in Sodom it was not allowed. If they found out that a person helped another person, if he did some good, if he supported him, if he allowed him to enjoy life in some manner, they would look at it in the most negative manner. There's an incredible story about two girls that come to fill the water from the well, and one sees the other's upset. She says, "We don't have what to eat at home." And because in Sodom you're not allowed to help each other, they exchanged their bowls. She gave her flour and she gave her water. What did they do? They executed her. Why she helped somebody else? There's many other stories that I'll bring throughout the program, but the question is, what can you teach us? What can you tell us about the atmosphere, the social atmosphere that characterized Sodom and Gomorrah, which are the most vicious relations that can be between people? If we disconnect the connection between people, there's nothing worse than that. If the connection is bad, which is not allowed in Sodom, you're also not allowed to do bad to a person. You're not allowed to do good to a person. There's total disconnection. There's nothing worse than that, because bad will be revealed as something that's insufferable. And it also has to do with who gave and who took and the person it's done to. And at the end of the day, it brings people to a connection. Like after a war, there's war, there's agreements, there's peace, like there always is between people. We see that the journey to correction is always includes all kinds of acts like this or like that, but it always comes down to a connection. They even say that people run into each other. It's like this or like that, but that all actually renews and deepens the connection. They get into each other's lives. That brings an improvement of the system, either in a good way or not such a good way, but it improves the system at the end of the day. And Sodom is a dead situation. Therefore, they talk about the salt that Lot's wife became, a pillar of salt, that a thing like this you can't do anything with except to transform it. That you can't do anything with this situation if there's no connection between people. That's the worst situation. So we see that since then and onward, the world starts to advance. Even though there's a bad connection between people in most cases, but it's development. The situation of Sodom is no development. It's an opposition. opposition to the system, the general system that's integral, global, where everything is connected to each thing in a total way. And then humanity also, at the end of the day, has to develop to that same state, to that same form, where everyone's connected to each other in a manner that there's no such thing that you discover that if I do something, of course it impacts everyone, and that's how everyone impacts everyone. According to our development toward nature, each time we're developing to a form where we're more and more connected. We're discovering ourselves more and more connected. Therefore, Sodom brings the example. It's stopping human development, and therefore we cannot agree with it. This form is the worst form of development, because even in a bad form we can't develop toward balance with nature. This is Sodom. Therefore, this thing does not exist. There's an entire philosophy that if I actually see that my nature is bad, and that what I do at the end of the day I'm causing bad to everyone, let's organize things that we don't cause anything to the other person. We don't cause anything to the other person, not good and not bad. But rather, I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing, and there's complete disconnection between us. That's apparently the best thing. If we can't use our nature as good, let's not use it at all. Because why do we need to go for bad? There's some kind of very clear mistake, sort of. Let's separate people, and that's it. But because it's against the general plan and the goal of creation to bring the human race into balance, that all of nature is attracted to balance, just man has to reach it consciously and understanding, and with his desire, then of course Sodom gives us an opposite example of the process.